every man got to pull together, and every man got to be able to overcome adversity. Don't care what it is. Don't care what happens. We've done it all year long. We hadn't let go of that rope. And we're not going to start right now. Let's go get them.
That's about your lot for crowd scenes tonight, I'm afraid. Good evening. We're in the Houston Astrodome. Capacity 60,000. Attendances for the first two Oilers home games of the season, 20 and 27,000. Not because they're a bad team, but because their owner, Bud Adams, is following the latest and least likable trend in the NFL and moving them to Nashville. Now, we're not going to debate the rights and wrongs of that tonight, except to say that it's completely wrong. And although it's understandable that fans should stay away, it's also a great pity, because the Oilers are emerging as one of the best young teams in the league. Anyway, tonight the Astrodome should see its biggest crowd of the season, because the visitors are the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are one game ahead of the Oilers at the top of the AFC Central. And the game they're ahead by brings some extra spice to today's game, because 3 weeks ago in Pittsburgh, these two teams met in the most heavily fined contest in NFL history. Pittsburgh won the game. The fight was about even. 3 players sent off and fines of $145,000 handed out. Houston's best revenge would be winning the rematch, and their best chance lies with the running of their brilliant rookie Eddie George. Beating Pittsburgh will confirm the Oilers as emerging contenders and give them a certain amount of personal satisfaction.
Going into Pittsburgh, I mean, we don't like them, we know they don't like us, but the bottom line is we got to find a way to beat them and be on top of the AFC Central.
They've also got to find a way to stop Jerome Bettis, who's run for at least 100 yards in each of the Steelers' last 5 games. All of them wins. Add in a defense that had 10 sacks last week and has scored almost as many touchdowns as it's allowed, the Steelers look as strong as they did last year. 2 good teams, lots of bad blood, should equal a great game. We were going to use it to man's well for the last one, but we couldn't fit it in. All right, on to the game now, and here to preview it with us is a man who's played more games for the Oilers than anybody in team history, defensive end Elvin Bethea. Elvin, as an old Oiler, it must sadden you to see the stadium half empty and as many Steelers fans as Oilers fans here.
Yeah, that's what really surprised me when walking in here, the number of Steelers jerseys and all types of garb, and just unbelievable compared to when I was back in '68.
Now, 3 weeks ago, 35 players fined $145,000. 92,000 of those fines suspended as an incentive not to fight again. Do you think they're going to be able to control themselves today?
Yes, I think that would have been a great incentive to me. I think they can. It's going to be a tough game. I think with all the excitement behind this game and the people looking for a great game, just hope there are no fights, but that's part of the game.
All right. 2 actual on the field, or legitimate on the field, play 2 great running backs. You've got Eddie George, who's a candidate for Rookie of the Year, and you've got Jerome Bettis, a candidate for Free Agent Signing of the Year.
I think you have 2 great backs there, and I think the key is who has the best blocking offensive line today. And everyone comes out really hard, and I guess the first couple of series, and sets the momentum, they will win.
All right, let's go to it then. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Houston Oilers in a rematch. Well, the first drive of the game set the tone. The Steelers held the Oilers to 1 yard on 2 plays. And on 3rd and 9, Frank Wycheck's strong effort stopped just short by a hard hit from Myron Bell. Houston had to punt, giving Pittsburgh the ball at the 25. Don Crickey and Beasley Reese are your commentators.
Here's Jerome Bettis, and the Oilers are looking for him, Beasley.
Well, he's the guy that they will have to stop. Jerome Bettis is off to perhaps his best season ever. He's very, very lucky to be with this team because the offense is made perfectly for a big back, and that's exactly what he is. He will pound it in there all day long, looking for 100 yards today to tie a franchise record, 6 consecutive games over 100 yards.
The Steelers have defeated the Oilers 5 straight times. As Tomczak drops on 2nd and 8, screens the ball out. It's an errant throw. He was looking at his fullback, and they couldn't get the ball to Jerome Bettis. There is a great player, Dermontti Dawson. Calls the offensive blocking schemes. Him spotting what the Oilers are ready to do and then calling for somebody to pick it up as Tomczak goes from the shotgun. Hit from behind, ball on the field. Oilers have it. Chris Dishman. Michael Barrow busted through from his linebacker position to put the hit on.
Try to pick up number 56. Here he is rushing, bottom of your screen, coming around the corner, almost blocked, but you see him take the right hand, swat the ball down, and there's Dish, Chris Dishman, who was involved in a lot of talking all week long, last couple of weeks in preparation for this football game, and he comes up with a football here.
Called Chad Brown and Osofsky bums. There'd be more bums like that around the league. You'd have more 5-1 teams. First down and 10 for the Oilers. On their second possession, they go to Eddie George, and the Steelers are reading him all the way. They fill the gap so quickly, and Eddie George is stopped after a gain of about 1.5 yards. Got him. Go Steve.
Jeff Fisher told us that he has to be very patient with the running game today. He says he expects no gain, and then nice gain. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen. Eddie George, the last couple of runs, nothing there because that Pittsburgh defense is so fast. But they say they're going to stay with the running game because every now and then this guy will pop one.
Yeah, he can break the big runs. And Fisher says he doesn't want his offensive coaches to get discouraged. He wants the ball to keep going to Eddie George. It does again here on the pitchback. And again, the Steelers respond. They get him for no gain, and they keep on hitting. 8 yards back from the line of scrimmage. Chad Brown led the tacklers, number 94, along with the strong safety Carnell Lake.
Now, this is a double zone, and the cornerback, number 27, Willie Williams, is responsible for the flat. So since he's standing in the flat, the pitch is coming to the flat. There he is, coming off of the block of Sanders and making the tackle, or at least stopping the play, and then a group of players make the tackle. There's Willie. See him run right around the wide receiver, coming from his flat responsibility in the perfect defensive position.
Third down and 10 now for the Houston Oilers. A scoreless first quarter. Chandler with a long count. Steelers come with a blitz. It's picked up. They let the ball go to the end zone, and it's overthrown. There's a penalty marker down. It looks like Willie Williams might have bumped somebody downfield. There's Williams, number 27. Myron Bell, another DB, got through on a blitz and hit Chandler hard. Jeff Fisher now sees his Oilers advancing the ball on the penalty down to the 11-yard line. No score, but the Oilers challenging to go take the lead on their home field. Chandler at 6'4", 230 pounds. Sees the whole field as he drops back, pump faking. He doesn't like to run, but he can. Averages 5 yards a rush. And Chandler gets down inside the 5-yard line. This is a day particularly busy. They would like him not to run because of the groin pull that's troubled him.
Well, Don, that shows us that his groin is okay. I mean, I never expected to see Chris Chandler pull down the football today and run it. He had to come out of the game last week with a pulled groin. But you can see right there his groin is fine, and that's good news for Houston because the guy's off to a great season.
It's been kind of a lingering injury. He actually first suffered it against Cincinnati 2 weeks ago, aggravated it last week in the win at Atlanta. The Oilers coming home after winning their last 2 road games in succession to go to 4-2. End off straight ahead, and Eddie George with 575 yards rushing through the first 6 games of the season, and as you point out, a 5-yard per carry average. This time hits ahead for maybe a yard. Jerry Rome, a very, very good offensive coordinator.
Well, I'll tell you what he's upset about right now. At the point of attack, actually in every running play so far, Pittsburgh has dominated the position. Right at the point of attack, so Eddie George has to stop before he even gets to the line of scrimmage.
They know, no question. They seem to know where Eddie George is going. Usually it's left. Chandler on third down takes a look. Nobody open, close to the end zone, and overshoots his target. And we have, looks like Derek Russell protesting that he was fouled on the play, but the official says no. And Al Del Greco and the Oilers field goal unit comes out to try to put up the first points of the game with 8:49 to play in the first quarter.
See, one of the things that you can count on with Chris Chandler is he's not going to do anything that's not smart. I mean, down here in this area, He sees he has nothing. He sees that there's pressure. And actually, Don, he lofts that ball just enough where no one can touch it and throws it out of play and guarantees his team an opportunity to put some points on the board.
And a very different start from that September day at Three River Stadium when the Oilers found themselves behind 20-0 in the first quarter. Tomczak fumble turned into a three-point play for the little bit louder. Look at the throw by Tomczak, underhanded to Bettis, but the Oilers come hitting. What a football game. They've got great defense on the field today. Everybody in position, everybody hitting like rockets.
Well, there are 22 very good defensive football players. I mean, both of these teams are noted for having excellent defense. Look at the pressure coming from the top of the screen. I mean, this is what we're going to see all day long. We're going to see good play at the point of attack by both of these football teams.
Mike Tomczak told us before the game, he said, one thing you have to be ready for in a game like this, negative things are going to happen. You have to respond to them. Let's see how he responds now. Dropping the throw downfield. He could get this caught. Look at that play by Charles Johnson. It's a foot race, and Charles Johnson's going to be the winner and into the end zone as the Steelers take the lead. A 70-yard touchdown play. Well, there's your response.
I asked CJ, they call him, yesterday if he felt like he has stepped up to that next level of receiver. Now, you may remember the last game, Don, he jumped over Lewis's head for a beautiful touchdown. Now, watch number 31, Marcus Robertson. This is so close to an interception, you won't believe it. Robertson thinks he's got it in his hands. CJ cuts right. Look, it's a one-handed catch. Whoa. What a beautiful play by Johnson.
And the Steelers, with Norm Johnson hitting the extra point up and good.
A 70-yard touchdown catch for Charles Johnson to go with the 62-yarder he had in the first game against Houston. And Pittsburgh got a chance to increase their lead when linebacker Levon Kirkland dropped back into coverage and intercepted Chris Chandler. Apart from the one big play for the touchdown, though, the Oilers were playing good defense themselves, and perfect coverage by Darrell Lewis stopped the Steelers on third down. So after a tight opening quarter, 7-3 Pittsburgh. Welcome back. On their first drive of the second quarter, the Steelers put Cordell Stewart in at quarterback for a play. And if Mark Bruner hadn't dropped his pass, it would have been 14-3. Instead, it's 10-3 after a field goal, and Houston are back in possession.
Now here's the throw in the flat. Red Sanders takes the ball on the near side. On a first down play, he's out to the 39-yard line, where Willie Williams of the Steelers knocks him out of bounds. They've been working on Willie Williams a lot. They're not going to Rod Woodson's side.
No, they've got a lot of respect for Rod, as does everybody in the league. Willie Williams, as a result, has been involved in a lot of plays. It's good plays and bad plays. So if you look at it the right way, when you play opposite a guy like Woodson, you're going to get a lot of action. If your head's right, you love that. Opportunity to make plays.
We saw Marcus Robertson almost make an interception play, but instead it was a 70-yard touchdown. Willie Davis turning upfield on a second and short. He has the big gainer for about 15 yards.
And speaking of Rod Woodson, here's a rare miss by Rod Woodson. I mean, he's in pretty good position. He reads the play and didn't make the tackle. As a result, it's enough for a first down. Here's a good look at it. Now, you know, Woodson always comes up and makes this tackle. This time he does not.
So the Oilers with one of their rare missions across midfield in this game. They had one earlier and got a field goal out of it. Here's a blitz. They pick it up. Chandler has some time. Fires hard near sideline. What a shot is put on Chris Sanders by Willie Williams. But the play is completed out down to the 36-yard line of the Steelers. A gain on the play of almost 9.
That's a good catch for Chris. He needs to get on track too. You see Olszewski on the zone blitz. Everybody else is playing a nice, comfortable zone. And there's a real good shot, good timing by Williams. But Thibodeau, Sanders, as he's known, he needed that catch. They need to get him on track here.
At any moment, though, when Sanders is on the field, they could be throwing to him in the end zone. He can run by most everybody. The Steelers playing way off in this. Chandler, another quick out near side and overshoots his man. That time he was looking at Malcolm Floyd, number 83. And they keep working on Willie Williams of the Steelers, the right corner, all day. Clock stopped on the incomplete pass with 5:43 to play in the first half. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese in the rematch. The Steelers and the Oilers, their first meeting, with 35 players being fined a total of $145,000, but 25 of those fines will be rescinded at the end of the season if the guilty parties fight no more.
And they plan to fight no more.
Well, we've seen no risks going on here. Somebody's not looking.
Yeah, this was a total misread. Look at Chris Chandler talking to his receiver because he didn't pick something up. So it must have been a blitz that he didn't pick up. So Sanders goes down to block. Watch this. He's coming to block.
That was a football that was shooting behind.
Willie Williams thinks he's about to try to catch a pass, so he's coming up to defend.
And now Chandler sends Wycheck in motion. Power run right. It's Eddie George, and he's got the first down. Eddie hangs ahead, and that's probably his longest gain of the day running. He did have the 10-yard pass reception.
This is a good job by the offensive line. It's an offensive line that has basically been whipped by the Pittsburgh defenders so far in this game. Take a look at it. See, that's solid push. Look at Matthews, number 74. That's a solid job by the veteran, Bruce Matthews.
And Eddie George is now plus yardage for the day running. 9 carries, just 11 yards total. That's averaging 5 a carry coming in. Here's the throw by Chandler. Comes back at the super fast Willie Davis. And he moves smartly to the sideline. Gets out of bounds at the 20. On a first down and 10 play, a 13-yard gain and a first down for the Oilers.
Well, this is a real good play. Solid route. It's really good coverage, but he simply gets back to the ball faster than Willie Williams. And one other point, Don, after that mistake, they took Chris Sanders out of this ball game. And so it's Davis and Malcolm Ford lined up at the wide receivers now. So when you don't pick up blitzes, that's what happens to you.
To the bench you go, says Jeff Fisher. So the Oilers driving on. Here is Chandler, pump faking, end zone throw. He's got a man. A diving attempt at the ball and is incomplete. Malcolm Floyd went for the ball, number 83. He had a step on Darren Perry.
Well, it's a double route. Floyd will lean in. Watch him at the top of your screen here. He'll lean in like he's going to just do something simple and then blows by Woodson. He's got him beat all the way, and that's one he catches the back half of the ball. I tell you what, that's almost a touchdown. If he holds that for another second, they call that a touchdown, even if he lets it go.
And that brings, so he beat Woodson first, and then Darren Perry coming over to double up on the deep 2 zone. It is incomplete. It is second down and 10, and now a marker is thrown at the 20-yard line. Irv Eatman, the right tackle for the Houston Oilers.
Before the snap, false start, number 75 on the offense. 5 yards, still second down.
It was Irv Eatman who was in motion early, so that's expensive. It sets the Oilers back to the Steelers' 26-yard line. Brings up second and long, second and 15.
Right. Irv Eatman with a nasty little look back over his shoulder there. He didn't like that. And look at Jason Gilden. Boy, I said, hey, he's out. Hey, he moves, dude. Somebody.
These Steelers remind you of the teams of the 70s. They're just loaded with great young defensive players. These guys on the bench who haven't gotten a big chance yet, but the Steelers have tremendous defensive talent on their team. There's nothing wrong with the offense either, although on that play, the Steeler defense is hit for an 11-yard gainer as the ball is thrown to Derek Russell by Chris Chandler.
Boy, it gets real difficult to play defense down at this end of the field. I mean, just the natural fact of the position of the ball, the field is shrunk down to about 20 yards, 25 yards if you count the back of the end zone.
Handoff goes to Ronnie Harmon, and he is down close to the 10-yard line. He might have a first down on 3rd down and 5. Looks like he does, so the Oilers drive on, getting some terrific blocking. Stepnoski, their very good center, and so quick, gets out and gets his man.
The Steelers stretch their coverage across the line. And watch number 99, Levon Kirkland. Here he is, a big guy right here. He hits the hole, almost the right hole, but pushed out of the way by the offensive lineman. And when you have a blitz like that and they run the ball, if you're not lucky enough to be running right through the hole, you lose it.
Somehow Spencer with an acrobatic handoff. He tripped, gets the ball to Eddie George, and he's down to the 10-yard line. The Heisman Trophy winner from Ohio State. Never has missed a practice in high school, in college, or in the pros. Never missed a practice, let alone a game. He has a work ethic that's unbelievable. As Willie Davis said, the first day he showed up at training camp, we saw right away he was big, he was fast, and he was smart. What else do you need? 13 teams passed on him in the first round. The Rams have had a big effect on the success of these two teams because the Rams let Jerome Bettis get away to the Steelers. And they didn't pick Eddie George. They took Lawrence Phillips. Here's a swing pass. And a terrific open field tackle is made by Willie Williams on Eddie George at the 11-yard line. So the Steelers rising up on defense as their challenge.
See, Willie Williams is playing a heck of a football game. He's challenged, as we mentioned, because he's on the opposite side of perennial all-pro Rod Woodson. But look at this guy. In this situation, typically the offense decides to throw the ball, take the shot in the end zone. So if it's incomplete, if it's not covered, you can throw it away. You get your field goal. You throw it short of the end zone, and the guy comes up and gets tackled. It's the same result. So you might as well try to throw it into the end zone.
3rd and goal, just outside the Steelers' 10. Here's a blitz on Chandler, and they get him. Rod Woodson. Shot out of the gun, unblocked.
But you know what, Don? It doesn't matter. They still get their shot at their field goal. So that, and you see Chandler was trying to get the ball, take his one opportunity into the end zone. So very smart by Chandler. Once he realized he was in trouble, he simply covered it up. That's a chip shot for his kicker.
The Steelers at 5-1 on a 5-game win streak. Everybody had those dire predictions when they were blown out at Jacksonville and lost an all-pro linebacker, Greg Lloyd, for the season that game. But now the Steelers off to their best start in 17 years. And the Oilers, their strongest challenger in the AFC Central, make it a bit closer as Del Greco is good for the second time in as many tries on a field goal. This from 32.
So Houston back within 4 and back in possession after forcing Pittsburgh to punt inside the final minute of the half. That was the good news. The bad news was that their return man Mel Gray injured his back as he brought the ball out to the 28-yard line.
39 seconds to go in the first half. Steelers ready to blitz Chandler. Here's another Woodson blitz, but he gets it over the middle nicely to Ronnie Harmon. Turns to the outside and gets out of bounds at the 30. A gain of about 4 yards. He stops the clock. 32 ticks left in the half.
But Chandler and his offense will be very careful here. They don't want to make any mistakes. It's a 4-point ball game. So you'll see little dumps, and you'll see throws to the sideline so the players can step out of bounds quickly. But I would be surprised if Rome does anything, you know, tricky, or I don't think he'll go for any long bombs here.
Well, they also could look for the long field goal because they have a standout place kicker in Del Greco. Here's Chandler with a deep drop. He throws it over the middle, gets Ronnie Harmon. He's across the 35 and out close to the 37-yard line. Chris Chandler, who's had a varied and well-traveled career around the NFL. 2 years with the Colts, 2 with Arizona, 2 with Tampa Bay, 1 with the Rams, now in his second with the Oilers. Dropping to throw with time running out. He's looking near sideline. He makes the connection and stepping out of bounds nicely is Chris Sanders, who had some problems with routes earlier, but that time he's right in synchronization with his quarterback for a 15-yard gain.
See, there's the distance that I'm predicting and also the pattern. I said comeback routes. Those guys will drive those cornerbacks who are way off of them to begin with, drive them downfield, come back, step out of bounds. 2 more of those. And so you're stepping out of bounds. Watch this. You stop the clock immediately. 2 more of those, and you're in field goal range, and you can make it a 1-point ball game going in.
Steelers are leading 10-6. Chandler against a 4-man rush. Steps into the pocket. Chad Brown had him for the moment. Chandler gets away. And he's in field goal range down to the 30-yard line. But they have no timeouts remaining. And now
they've got to throw it down, Don.
Try to get the ball down. 3 seconds, 2, and they stop the clock with a second left. Well done by the Oilers, and they will get the field goal try. The play will go to the 30-yard line, and that will bring Del Greco out. Well, now they're placing at the 31, so it'll be about a 48-yard attempt, which for him is duck soup as far as distance. This guy could kick it a long way. He's hit 2 today. For the season, he's 16 of 19 kicking field goals. 2 of the misses over 50 yards. He's got plenty of distance.
Del Greco kicks a field goal with 1 second left in the half to pull the Oilers within 1 point. Up until then, though, as you said, it was a battle of the trenches.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. People are excited. I'm excited. I think as I said before, the down in the trenches are where you're going to win it. Defensively, both teams are playing great defense here.
That has to give the Oilers a huge lift going in at halftime, though.
I guarantee you, going in with a field goal, that takes a lot of pressure off. Coming back out, they will be up for the game. I guarantee you, second half.
Now, neither team's really been able to run. The Oilers especially, though, have been shut down. Are they going to keep pounding away, or are they going to do, as we saw towards the end of the half, start using the quick pass instead?
I think they're going to have to go with the quick passes, quick slants to keep them honest, and all of a sudden go back to your running game. That way you keep a balance there. And I think the main thing is to stay with that game plan.
All right, it's almost perfectly balanced here at halftime. The Pittsburgh Steelers 10, the Houston Oilers 9. We'll be back after the break with the first half of this week's highlights. Welcome back. An interesting battle here for first place in the AFC Central between the Steelers and the Oilers, and an equally interesting one going on for the lead of the NFC East. That's where we're going to start this week's highlights.
Dan Marino back in pads, but fortunately for the Eagles, not yet fit to play. One of his old targets was, though, Irvin Fryer had a huge game against his former team.
Detmer's pass. Touchdown, Eagles.
Ty Detmer's first 2 touchdown passes for Philadelphia, both to Fryer, had the Eagles up 14-0. This 6-yard reception from rolling Randall Hill in the second quarter brought the Dolphins back to within 3. Thanks, Jimmy, we never would have known. It was the man Johnson told he had no future in Miami, though, who continued to make the present tense for the Dolphins. Fryer had 4 touchdown catches, his best ever, and Ricky Waters had 173 yards rushing, his best ever.
Here's Waters breaking through. Inside the 30. Inside the 20. Waters. Touchdown.
That win by the Eagles meant third place Dallas had to do the same at home to the Falcons to avoid falling further behind.
Here's Aikman back again. Deion Sanders is good wide left. That's in its Smith. Touchdown, Dallas.
But what looked like a routine steamrollering of a winless team started to go a little bit wrong when Bobby Hebert sneaked over to make it 17-12. It went wronger in the third quarter when the Falcons forced Troy Aikman to fumble and kicked a field goal to take the lead. And finally, it went completely wrong. Actually, Troy, I think touchdown has 2 syllables. With 1:50 left, though, the Falcons blew it.
Motion is Johnston. Here comes the blitz again for a run back. Down the middle, Kelvin Martin. Off to the races to the 20. Again, he's going to score. From 60 yards from Troy Aikman.
Dallas registers the win. The Falcons' secondary registers with the Charity Commission. The Cowboys and Eagles are both chasing the Redskins. And that's Gus Farrock calling his mates to say, put $5 on Terry Allen to open the scoring.
An impressive first drive, and Terry Allen walks in for the touchdown.
In fact, Terry Allen had the opening 3 scores. This just looks like a replay. And by halftime, it was 28-0.
Second down, the 10, and the pass off the hands is intercepted. Darrell Green
with a race. With one man, and that's Brown to beat. He won't get him. Darrell Green will score. No flags.
Giants won the second half, but by then it was all over. Most NFL coaches preach the value of preparation. Jim Mora preaches the value of preparation H. After his big game last week, Ray Zellers gave the Saints a 4-point cushion in the second quarter with this goal line plunge, but the relief was only temporary.
Holland escapes. Oh, touchdown. Mark Carrier.
And the Panthers still haven't lost a division game. In Arizona, it was the bottom of the NFC Central against the bottom of the NFC East, and one well worth sleeping through. Larry Centers provided the lone Cardinals touchdown on this catch with little help from an over-pursuing linebacker, and that was about it for highlights.
We'll have the second half of this week's highlights for you, remember, after the second half here. It's a one-point game. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Houston Oilers 10-9, and they get the ball to start the third quarter.
They were also getting plenty of support, a large Steelers contingent helping boost the crowd to 50,000, more than the Oilers' first two games put together. The home fans were making a bit of noise, though, too, especially when Norm Johnson missed his 38-yard field goal to start the second half. Here's Houston's first possession from their own 28.
The rematch, round two, as some call it. But the deportment has been very good on both sides, and so has the football, particularly on the defensive side. As only 19 points have been scored, and in truth, the last time Chris Chandler and the Oilers went against the Steelers, it was over in the first quarter when the Steelers, on Oiler mistakes, built a 20-0 lead and went on to win 30-16.
And you know, the players went into that last game talking about Houston now, talking about how we're not going to be beaten physically. We're not going to be intimidated. Well, they weren't. They won a lot of the fights, but they lost the game. This time they're talking about winning the game and keeping their composure, and they've done it.
They've kept it very well. Here's a handoff. Eddie George finally gets some noon to go. So the Steelers sprung Bethea on the opening sequence of the third quarter. And now the Oilers on their first possession spring Eddie George for 10 and a first down.
You can tell, John, that both of these coaches went in at the half and figured out ways to get the running game going. I mean, they must have looked at that and said, why are we not moving the ball on the ground? Bettis came out, was successful in their drive, and now, as you mentioned, Eddie George right there starting to break loose just a little bit.
Our producer, John McGinnis, has just been in contact with the Oilers bench and been informed that Mel Gray won't play anymore today because of the back injury suffered on that kick return. So one of their weapons sidelined for the rest of the day. Here's a handoff to Eddie George. Hagan so very fast at 6'3", 240. The thing that amazed all the Oiler coaches, though, when he came to camp was how quick his feet were, how he could cut, change direction, being such a big man.
Don, this says a lot about the offensive coaches. There's one of them, Jerry Rome, on both of these teams. They looked at the photos of the defensive alignments that were stopping the run, and it's no accident, it's no coincidence that Bettis and George are getting on track here in the second half. Now the defensive coaches will have to readjust.
And we'll see what the Steelers do on this defensively. They're threatening blitz on 2nd down and 4. Chandler's looking it over. He might be changing the play. Here comes the blitz. He's dropping to throw. A good fake by Chandler. Gets him some time, but he runs out of it, and he is sacked. A lot of guys in there working on the sack. Oliver Gibson, a nose tackle who played with Jerome Bettis at Notre Dame, is credited with the sack.
Well, there's just nothing downfield. I mean, once I saw that it was a play pass, I looked downfield to see who was running open. I saw the same thing that Chandler saw, nothing. So he puts it down and gets as close to the line of scrimmage as he can.
Gibson, as a high school player in Illinois, was voted the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year. And Andre Hastings, the Steeler receiver out of Georgia, was the #1 high school player his senior year in high school in the country. Here's a throw in the flat. Ran it in somehow. Almost a pick, but it's a catch by Chris Sanders, who started to come alive.
See, Willie Williams is in great position once again. He almost gets his hand on his ball. But it's a great look at the route for those young receivers at home. And also defensively, look at the angle. The way Willie Williams entered the play was perfect. He almost got his hand there. Sometimes as a DB, you line up and you say, hey, they made a great throw and a great catch. That was a super route and a good throw.
The Oilers, with a field goal, would take the lead. Norm Johnson missing the 38-yarder on the Steelers' opening drive of the second half. Chandler to Eddie George, and he gets some room, and then is taken down. A well-done open field tackle by the nose tackle, Joel Steed.
Take a look at the running game here in the National Football League. That's one of the reasons why Denver is doing so good. They're also tops defensively, so that's a change for Broncos. But you see, the two teams in this game, Pittsburgh and Houston, right up at the top when it comes to average per game.
Eddie George now up to 32 yards rushing for the game on 14 carries. Second down and 7. 10-9. Steelers lead in the third quarter. 6:10 to play in it. Sanders can fly, and he's inside the 30 down to the 29-yard line. And already they're in El Del Greco field goal range. 15-yard gain, Beasley.
Now, Sanders was taken out of the game earlier in the first half for not picking up a blitz. This time he picks up the zone blitz, and the difference is he sees it, he runs the route adjustment, and he makes a nice gain. So believe me, there are lessons in being taken out of the game for a couple of plays. That time he picked it up.
Both teams making some nice offensive adjustments at halftime as they're both moving the ball here in the third quarter. Chandler going with long counts. Lone setback, that's Eddie George. He gets the ball, and past Eddie takes it down to the 27-yard line on a first down carry, got about 3. Gary Olszewski, inside linebacker, makes the stop for Pittsburgh.
Now, this is the type of offensive series that Jerry Rome would envision. You know, a nice mix of running, control passing, recognizing the blitz, making the completion. So far, this has been virtually a perfect series. Even the one play where Chandler had to eat the sack, you know, that happens in football. This is a very nice series for Houston.
A very nice series, and it continues with second down and 7 coming up. Chandler stands in, fires to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Good coverage as Levon Kirkland was coming hard. The intended target was Derek Russell, number 85, in the end zone. And Chandler, the veteran, rather than rolling out against all that pressure, let it go by and stepped up.
That was a remarkable position by Levon Kirkland. I mean, for a linebacker that big to be in that position underneath the receiver and forcing Chandler to throw it away is incredible. As you mentioned, Don, the guy is 265. It's amazing.
And one of the NFL interception leaders with 4, including one today. Chandler is in trouble. Ball on the field. Penalty marker down. Steelers have the ball. It is a live ball, and now they lose it. And another Steeler falls down at the 48-yard line.
The penalty was on Houston, so the turnover stood. Another big play from the Steelers' defense. Their offense couldn't turn it into points, though, so they still lead by 1 after 3 quarters.
Hey, we're going to have so many game balls. I mean, we may not have enough players for all the game balls we're going to get, right?
Our 3-game trip to the States is still up for grabs, with tickets to see the Cowboys play the Redskins in Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, the Rams against the Saints in New Orleans, and the Falcons and 49ers in Atlanta. As well as the live action, there's also the chance to soak up some history at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. As usual, a handful of weekly winners divide up an armful of NFL goodies. This week's famed subject on Blitz was quarterback Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers. What we want to know is which city other than Green Bay did the Packers play some of their home games in until recently. Call 0891 444 between now and midnight on Thursday, and choose between Memphis, Maui, and Milwaukee. Back in the Astrodome, Houston had Pittsburgh pinned at their own 5 to start the fourth quarter, but Mike Tomczak and Charles Johnson produced their second big play of the game, a 63-yarder to get them out of trouble and into scoring range. The Oilers defense tightened again, though, and after all the celebrations, the Steelers had to settle for a field goal. So it's Houston's ball as we pick it up at their own 32.
Now will Chandler have to start putting up more and going left to Eddie George. He goes back to George. Not a whole lot happening in the middle of that Steeler defense as that huge, quick defensive front. Brenston Buckner, Joel Steed, making knockdowns. They've been alternating people. Bill Johnson was in there as a starter. Oliver Gibson's made a lot of stops. And Levon Kirkland was also on the play.
Oh, this is a fine defense. It's one of the best in the National Football League across the board. They lost some inside guys. They find guys. They lose Greg Lloyd for the year. Still works. They lose Kevin Green to free agency. Still works. It's the scheme and Dick LeBeau. It's a great defense.
Throw in the flat. Willie Davis comes down with the ball, and he's out of bounds at the 33-yard line. It's ruled a catch, and it's good for 8 yards and a first down.
You take a look at the pattern here run on Deion Figures. Look how far he is off of the wide receiver. I believe that they are taught there's a technique called cluing, where you line up deep enough so you can read the drop of the quarterback. If the quarterback takes a 3-step drop, you know it's a short pattern, quick in, quick out. 5-step drop, it's a 14 to 17-yard route. 17 to 9 drop, it's a bomb. So that helps them. They stay off, they're not under pressure, they read the quarterback, and then react to the actual pattern.
Chandler going long, and the coverage is there, and Deion Figures making a diving play at the ball. He almost had a spectacular interception. As it was incomplete, and it brings up 2nd down and 10.
Well, the beauty of at the end of this, any ball thrown this high and at around the numbers, you know, your better free safeties get underneath this and catch the ball. Now, the free safety this time is number 40, Myron Bell. See, just outside the numbers, you got the great free safeties get over there, and they make a play on that ball.
On 2nd and 10, here's Chandler standing in. The big rush comes. He dumps it off nicely. Gets it to Eddie George, and he's ahead to the 44-yard line. A gain of 12 yards on the play and a first down. Eddie George breaks one on a first down carry. Swift cutting moves as he's across midfield and ahead for a gain of 7 yards down to the 49-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Eddie George has got all the stuff. Bruce Matthews with a beautiful double block. That was just amazing. Good hard running, but once again, see, people who play a lot of football know who makes the plays, and Bruce Matthews made that play. Beautiful blocking.
And that brings up 2nd down and a long 3 for the Oilers. They're down by 4 in the 4th quarter. 6:20 to play in the game. Eddie George protecting the ball, both hands on it. He needed 3, he got 4. First down, Houston. They drive on, and the clock continues to tick down. LaVon Kirkland was on the stop. What a game.
Oh, this is a beauty.
First and 10, quick drop, beautiful throw, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Myron Bell on Chris Sanders. Might have been a knockout tackle, and he held on.
What is going on here?
He really took a hard shot, and he would have been gone if Bell didn't get him. Sanders has made some tremendous plays for the Oilers in the second half. He just gets leveled.
Oh, that's head-to-head. Oh, my goodness. That was helmet to helmet from Bell and Chris. Just right at impact, you see there, they both collide helmets.
We'll see how that sounded from ground level.
You never
that kind of a game, a knockout tackling game.
Yeah.
Tremendous game.
You never use your helmet when you tackle in football. And that's why all you high school and little leaguers, you move your head out of the way at the last second and you hit with your shoulder pad.
Well, in every NFL locker room, they have a sign that says, see what you hit. Have your head up.
That's right.
Head never down. Head up. Face mask up. Strike with the shoulder. Right, Beasley?
Right.
First down and 10. Houston Oilers down by 4 in the 4th quarter. Chandler open as Willie Davis, and the Oilers take the lead. Houston. 5:01 to play. We're a long way from over. What a play. Willie Davis, his 5th touchdown reception of the season.
Don, it's a double move. He's working against Rod Woodson. He runs the out, and Woodson jumps all over it. But the bad part it was out and go.
34-yard touchdown, and look at Willie Davis's numbers now. 6 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown.
That's a big day.
The extra point attempt, up and good. And the Oilers now lead by 3 with 5:01 to play. Would we be looking at overtime before this is over?
Let's take a look back at the touchdown, and once again working against one of the most aggressive DBs in the league. That's Rod Woodson. Watch him. He's cluing. He jumps the curl, and he goes on the curl and go and beats Rod Woodson cleanly on the pump fake. What a game.
Loud noise. Another factor that Tomczak has to contend with. In addition to this Oiler defense that's coming hard. Ball on the field. Steelers might have, let's see.
You never know what happens under that pile.
Look at it, still there. Finally taken at the 5-yard line. It's the Oilers' ball at the Pittsburgh 5. Aaron Wortham finally came up with it.
Don, there are things that go on at the bottom of a pile like that that cannot be discussed in public. You never know what happens under there. And it looks like Pittsburgh has the ball here. Look, they start grabbing people.
Can you recover it with your knees? Some guy had it with his knees.
Nah, he didn't have possession of it, not true possession of it.
Great second look. John Jackson had it with his knees. That's Tomczak losing it. There's John Jackson.
There's Jackson has it.
But then if it pops out, and the ball goes over to the Oilers, so all of a sudden this game has turned and turned dramatically. Houston may be in position to put a knockout punch on the Steelers. And end a 5-game losing streak. Eddie George down to the 4. Stopped on the play by Darren Terry and Oliver Gibson. Oilers looking to run some clock here now as the game clock running down to 4:15 to play. They lead by 3 after trailing most of the game.
Well, it's gut check time for the Houston defense. They have got to clamp them right now.
I set. Eddie George is the I-back. He could be the guy on 2nd down. Eddie George. Down close. Up at the 2-yard line. Olszewski got it and threw him back. And that brings up 3rd down and goal from the Steeler 2-yard line.
Don, success here is forcing that team to kick a field goal.
Oh, and how?
That is success. If
Wouldn't
they
that
can
be
force,
something?
yeah, if they can force Houston to kick a field goal, where Pittsburgh would still be within a touchdown of making a game, of winning the game, staying in it, that would be success for this defense.
And the goal line defense is now in place for the Pittsburgh Steelers as 3rd down comes up for the Houston Oilers in this critical AFC Central game. 3rd and goal from just outside the 2. Eddie George again, and he's going in. Eddie George builds the lead to 22-13 with the extra point coming up. Oh, this one turned on a heartbeat. And here is El Del Greco on the field to try the point after that would extend Houston's lead to 10 points with 3:05 to play. So the Oilers trailing in the game 13-9. All of a sudden erupt for a pair of touchdowns in almost nothing flat.
And take a look at this. You'll see the linemen come around in here to pull. It is number 77, Kevin Donnelly. Look at the full block by 77, leading to a nice, beautiful alley right through, for which Eddie George fakes as if he's playing for the Green Bay Packers and goes up into the crowd for some nice hugs. There's 77, Kevin Donnelly.
Sure, that is the block.
With the beautiful lead full block, and Eddie George reads it perfectly.
Easy, what do we look for here?
Well, I think we once again, we look for deeper patterns, but 12 to 15 yards in nature, and out patterns where they can step out of bounds quickly.
Ball on the field.
Oh, boy.
It's recovered by the Steelers. Charles Johnson had it, but these Oilers are coming with knockout hits. 3 in the ball again, and the clock is running down to 2:39 to play. Steelers with only 1 timeout remaining, compounding their dilemma.
Oh, Johnson has got to put that away. When you catch a ball in that type of traffic, you got to cover with both hands.
So in the flat, looked like a good catch. Let's see what they rule. They rule his both feet were not in. Steelers furious. Cordell Stewart was the receiver. Oh, that was sure close if he didn't have them both in.
Well, that was close, and sometimes the official will look at this and wonder whether or not Houston pushed the player out of bounds. I don't know that happened. Yeah, see, Cordell Stewart may have caught that inbounds and been pushed out of bounds, and in a play like that, the player is supposed to go to the offense. Yeah, he's pushed.
3-man rush. They're not showing blitz. They're just rushing 3 as Tomczak has 5 receivers running patterns. Now he's on the run. Tomczak lobs it downfield to Cordell Stewart. A penalty marker's down against the Oilers. He caught the ball. Whether or not both feet were inbounds that time remains to be seen, but there will be penalty yardage if he wasn't inbounds. He was pushed.
Well, you got Dishman in there arguing. Whenever Dish is in there.
There's breaking news, right? There's the story. Dishing it out.
Yeah, this should consider a legal profession, an attorney or something like that, or a debate coach.
Tomczak dumped it off before he swept under. Barrows was coming on a blitz. Also coming hard for Houston was Josh Evans.
Josh Evans is one of those guys that they are rotating in with the defensive linemen to keep them fresh. So you got fresh guys coming off the bench, knowing that Tomczak is in a position where he has to take deep drops and throw the ball, and they are teeing off.
There is a guy to rave about here in Houston, undersized defensive lineman Josh Evans.
Evans is a pass rushing specialist.
So the timeout count, the Steelers have mentioned with just 1. Here is a swing pass. McAfee has the ball. Little used back. He gets down to the 37-yard line. Ball on the field again. And picking it up and doing his best with it is Justin Strelzik.
I thought Justin was
going to roll it down, though. And the clock's running. The Steelers really down 1 timeout.
And they lost a couple down there.
Very soon they'll be out of timeouts, and perhaps they're already out of luck.
Yeah, when Bill Johnson couldn't get off the field, they had to call a timeout to get the defensive linemen straight. They wish they had that one back right now.
Ironic, in the opening game, the Steelers beat the Oilers on Houston turnovers. Today, the Oilers will beat the Steelers on Pittsburgh turnovers, almost another. Fourth down throw on 4th and 9, incomplete. And they take over the ball. Do the Houston Oilers ready to run out the clock. As the Oilers win one of their biggest games, maybe the biggest, in the coaching reign of young Jeff Fisher.
Well, I take back everything I said at the top of the show. The fans turned up late, but they turned up 50,000 of them, still 10,000 below capacity. But they made some noise, and they're making some now, aren't they?
Oh, they're making great noise. It's just like a Super Bowl in here. Unbelievable. The crowd was there. The team came out on top. Exciting.
Now, it looked for a long, long time as though those two big plays from the Steelers, both to Charles Johnson, were going to decide the game. But late on, they left it late. Houston got a couple of their own.
I think they made their own breaks there. They went out. They knew what they needed. Turned the whole thing around. Made some changes at halftime, and it's a win. That's all you want.
Now, it's only the halfway point of the season, but they are in possession of first place in the AFC Central. Are they a legitimate playoff team?
What you saw today is a team that can make it. But what I saw here today, their team, they will be in the playoffs. How far they can take it from there is going to be up to them.
And perhaps playing the Steelers in the AFC Championship game like they did in your day. All right, we're going to go inside now and hear from the locker room. Chris, people were saying before this game you hadn't beaten anyone really worth beating. How good do you think this team is after today?
Oh, well, we can't think we're the greatest team since sliced bread, but we're a good team. You know, we got a tough team coming in the next week. And Pittsburgh been a thorn in our side for so long. You know, we always play them so tough, and then the third and fourth quarter, we always seem to choke and they end up winning the game. But today, we just dug down deep and made plays when we have to.
Nice to hear the Astrodome loud.
Oh, it's lovely to hear it loud. You know, like I said, there's no way we can go back to 20-something thousand people.
Great fake on Woodson for the touchdown.
Yeah, it was. Chris threw a great ball. We kind of figured he was going to go for that hitch if Chris pumped the ball, which he did, because we have ran so many hitches today. So we kind of figured it was time to run that hitch and go, because he was going to bite on it, which he did.
You split the series so far. Do you expect to see them again in the playoffs?
I hope so. I mean, I hope so, but I know they hope so. So, you know, that'll be a good matchup, and hopefully we'll have them at Three Rivers, and, you know, we don't lose there. So, you know, I wish them luck.
Well, let's just see what happens and who wins the best out of three at the end of the year. That's our goal, is to get a chance to play Pittsburgh again.
Well, the Oilers have got another big game next week when they take on San Francisco. And this week, the 49ers were trying to rebound from that loss to Green Bay with a home game against Cincinnati. That's where we start the second half of the roundup.
Steve Young started his first game in 4 weeks for San Francisco. He must have spent last Sunday watching Jim Kelly's comeback. On his first pass of the game, he tried to go over the middle to Jerry Rice, but got picked off. Jeff Flake capitalized for the Bengals.
World of time, touchdown.
And when Young did complete a pass, the results were no better. Rookie Terrell Owens, starting his first game, marked the occasion with his first turnover. And the Bengals did something they haven't done much this season, go deep.
Jeff Flake going down.
Down an astonishing 21-0, the 49ers called a halt to Young's comeback, sent on Elvis Gerback. He calmed things down a bit with this 18-yard pass to Ted Popson in the second quarter. But then Elvis hurt his shoulder, and in a wild second half, Young returned through 2 touchdown passes and restrained his groin for victory. That blown 21-point lead was the last straw for the Bengals. They sacked Dave Schuler after the game. With 1 win out of 6, Rich Brooks is also under pressure in St. Louis. Anthony Parker quietened down the critics early against Jacksonville.
So Brunell goes to the air again, and this one is picked off. Anthony Parker. Brunell's going to try to catch it. He's not going to get it. Parker's going to score.
The Jaguars' Keenan McCardle had one of the biggest receiving days in NFL history. 16 catches for 232 yards. But in the end, this was the catch that mattered. Eddie Kennison on the end of Tony Banks' fourth quarter pass to give the Rams a much-needed home win. Mile High Stadium, the only ground in the NFL where you can order a hot dog and an oxygen mask. After his breather, Terrell Davis was back to leading the league in rushing.
Davis. Boom. Daylight.
This could get ugly.
Langham gets him. Not soon enough.
In what turned into a shootout, the Ravens came back to lead 34-31 on 4 Vinny Testaverde touchdown passes, including this nice grab by Michael Jackson. In the fourth quarter, though, John Elway did what he usually does in fourth quarters.
Elway throws the bag to McCaffrey. Third touchdown of the day for the former Stanford receiver.
Thurman Thomas went into this game 66 yards short of a place in the Bills' record book. By the third quarter, he was there.
Here's Elvin again, and he has the record. He just broke O.J. Simpson's career rushing record for the Buffalo Bills.
O.J., though, is expected to launch an appeal. Frank Reich, the longtime Bills backup, gave the Jets the lead with this pass to Keyshawn Johnson. But when you haven't won a game, the first one is the hardest to nail down. A record 6 field goals from Steve Christie, 8 losses for the Jets. The Colts' injuries were bound to catch up with them eventually, and this was the week. Although turnovers didn't help, Cliff Gross fumbled in the second quarter, Willie Clay recovered, and on the next play, Drew Bledsoe hit the fast-improving Terry Glenn. By the end, Jim Harbaugh had a broken nose, and the Colts collectively had a bloody one. Finally, a reminder of the Thursday night game in Kansas City, which the Chiefs won handily with the help of 2 Marcus Allen touchdowns. They still trail the Broncos by a game in the AFC West, though, as we take a look at the standings after 8 weeks.
All right, that's about it. Check out our Foretell and web pages for the result of the late Monday night game between the Chargers and the Raiders. We'll be back with Blitz on Saturday morning. The story from here, though, is that for the first time since he took over as Houston Oilers head coach, Jeff Fisher has beaten Bill Cowher and the Steelers. If they make it to the playoffs, though, Houston, I suspect, won't have heard the last of Pittsburgh. Good night from the Astrodome.
50 minutes, you're the damn enemy. In 50 minutes, you're the enemy. I know that. So right now, you're still talking. You're a pretty good guy. How you doing? Good. You're doing good, man. Just remember now, remember one thing. This is a 60-minute proposition. I'm going to tell you something. No matter how it starts, the most important thing is how you finish. But let's set the tempo right with this kickoff. Let's get after it. Jason! Hey! Get the... You get over there! Jason! Hey! Boston! Come on, Zach. Listen. I love your enthusiasm. Scott, dang it! Let's go! Damn you! Damn you, McNair! The first time somebody's got me off my feet.